Yes, indeed. What's happening, Jeremy?
Notification saying I didn't update in the required timeline, so it's restart now or restart in 5 minutes, so I might have to do it.
You're fine, you're
So
fine.
I'm gonna do that now, so.
Okay, let's do that.
You gotta come up with a better one, Jeremy, than that one. No, I'm kidding. Oh,
It's, so we're looking at the weather, it says winter advisory, whatever, and I'm like, all right, it's not snowing, it's
Oh.
raining in La Pine.
oh,
It's not snowing yet. What does it say it is? I think it's like 33 degrees. So it could be. But I'm sure you missed that, Jeremy. No, it's 38. It's not gonna snow.
oh, yeah. Depends on the weatherman, where he's at. So yeah, I tell everybody that's the one profession you can be wrong 100% of the time and still have your job 100% of the time. The wind shifted. Oh gosh, darn it. Like,
Because it's like, oh, well, sorry, folks, here's what really happened, you know?
yeah.
But anyway, well, I was over on the other side of the hill all last week, meeting with our fantastic agents over there, and so it was a good time. It was good. Jimmy, have you ever been to Jacksonville?
Not in a while. I've been
Okay.
to pretty much all the places for wrestling tournaments throughout years and fight tournaments, but I've kind of stopped traveling the last 5 years, or no, actually.
Which is Jacksonville. So when I was saying that I was staying in Medford, she's like, don't stay in Medford, stay in Jacksonville because it's such a cute place. And so, and it was, oh my gosh, I've never gone back to Medford to stay. I'm gonna
Oh.
stay in Jacksonville.
Hey, maybe it could convince you to move and then have your office in Medford.
Well, we said, so my husband was with me this time, so it was really nice to have him travel with me. And he got to see like where I drive and where I'm always, meeting with my agents and all of that. So he's like, wow, this is really pretty, and I go, I keep telling you, like, yeah, Southern Oregon is gorgeous. So, but we said as we were leaving Tuesday morning, we were leaving Jacksonville because I had some meetings in Medford. And he was like, man, if you had to live over on this side, this is where we would live. Like somewhere between Central Point and Jacksonville. Super pretty. Cute little town. And Nancy and I had a wonderful dinner on Monday night, little Mexican play. Got to sit outside. It was really nice night. So anyway, how are you all doing? How was your week? I know we didn't get to meet last week because I was meeting with our agents, but how have things been past couple weeks for you?
I got the ball rolling, got started on hiring an employee, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So tell us about the employee. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it actually, it was a kind of. His girlfriend.
Okay.
She'd been working in a beauty salon and wanted to do something where there was more growth than, tapping out at $19 an hour is the most she'd ever make there. So
Okay.
just got our associates, and we thought it'd be a good idea to try it out. So we're doing on like a probationary, just seeing if it makes sense. But we did like a legit formal interview. We did the whole process, that kind of thing. Because her and my brother have been together for almost 2 years now, so I've known her for a while. But yeah, no, it's looking like it's going to be pretty helpful for me. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So open communication, Jeremy. That's all I have to say. Especially if there's like, other siblings involved and.
Oh yeah, that was one of the big things we talked about, and her and my brother even had dinner at my parents' house the night before we interviewed, and my dad was like, "Hey," but I talked to her. I was like, "Look, the big thing is, if we have any kind of tension, I want to talk about it here. I don't want to hear about it at Thanksgiving."
Oh.
Exactly. So good. I mean, that's I will tell you, you guys probably know this, right? Like you cannot over communicate, especially in this when you talk about building culture with your teams and your staff. And Nancy, you just brought on a new assistant as well. I know Jimmy, you're in I haven't caught up with you lately on either you're doing that or in the process of, right? So all three of you are like in the same boat, training new staff, bringing them on. And I will say you cannot over communicate, because that's where when you're trying to build really good culture, your staff, you know, involved to a point, right? Not over involved where they feel like they're running an agency themselves, you know, but give them enough communication and where they feel like, hey, I'm part of this growth, I'm part of this train that moving, you know, and I want to be part of something really big and really good and growing. So it's good not to keep them in the dark, but it's also, you know, there's a fine line of over communication as well. But you can't, like, as far as expressing to keep, hey, if they're feeling a certain way, or there's, like you said, Jeremy, any tension or anything like that, which in most cases is a miscommunication or if something was overlooked, you know, anything like that, or a frustration. If they're, I know Nancy, I met with Lisa is her name, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
I got to meet with her. It's in Nancy's office last week. So many technology issues, Jimmy. I mean, you could consider you know, hers is different though. Hers is actually the hardware itself that is not working. So there could be that could cause frustration in her. And thank goodness, I don't know whether it was just because I was there, but she seemed like it was like, oh, we'll figure it out, you know, that type of thing. We can do this, but anyway, you got to keep those lines of communication open so they feel like they have a voice and they feel like they're part of something that's growing. So just my 2 cents.
On that note, we have a new laptop being shipped because we had so many tickets. And I don't know if that's what you had, Jimmy, when you were saying you had tickets.
This was the back, no, his was our system.
I could have wrote a glossary of tickets, man, with all the IT numbers. I was like, what the heck? This is like, it was crazy.
That was us. This, I'm not saying this isn't us, Nancy, but it's the computer for sure.
Yeah, this was like the computer kept having a blue screen with a sad face and it would restart like over and over each day. So you'd be in the middle of a task and it like restarts.
Oh,
Well, and
no.
it wasn't loaded properly from the beginning, you know, and you have, they were on with Steve Sagai trying to figure out Planner and do some stuff, and he's like, this was not configured properly, you know? And so right then I was like, no, you tell them you want a new computer. No, we're not dealing with this anymore. It's interrupting business. Like,
well, and it's sad because we had done the tickets and got all those things worked out. So now I'm kind of hopeful that the new computer will have those things on it, because then we're gonna be back to when we get it.
That wasn't like, it shouldn't have happened from the beginning. Like, that's not, it shouldn't have left our facility. Configured the way it was. Somebody dropped the ball.
Well, the funny thing, they overnighted us the new screen because the screen was broken, or the monitor, I should say, was like cracked and like on the inside of the screen, and like had like stickers on it. And,
Yeah,
like,
she
the
showed,
face was
she
chipped. It
showed,
was like,
you guys, you have no idea, like, she showed me this monitor, so it's a Dell monitor, right? It's the ones that they ship out. The base of it, like where you set it on the desk, the base of it's part of the corner's completely gone, like it's cracked and broken. All right, and then up in the other corner of the screen, it's completely cracked. I'm like, did this happen at shipping? Or if it didn't, how did this leave our facility? Like, come on. But anyway, just so y'all know, like I'm right now sitting in front of two 27-inch screens that I purchased myself. They told her you can't have your own. And I'm like, oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So do the math, Nancy. Do the math on what do you pay for that every to lease it? You know, I don't know, $4 a month. I don't know. It's super cheap, but versus buying your own, I don't know. For me,
I looked at the last statement and technology said $135.
No, I know, but then they break it down, right?
I don't know. Do you know, Jeremy?
We have a way to break it down.
There's a way to break it down. I think if you're in the digital version of the report, you can actually click on the deductions for technology and it'll break it out, or it's that, or one of the reports when you've got like all of them running down the side. Has specifically a deductions breakdown.
Okay, I just saw it under the deduction statement, so I'll try to a look at that today.
Yeah,
Do the
they should
math.
break it down per piece of what
My
you're.
computer finally restarted.
Right. But no, those are the things where, of course, they're like, no, you have to, even with, I was telling Nancy, even my printer, so being that I'm working, my office is now in my home. They bought me a new printer, and then I asked Kelly, I go, why did you send me a cable? And she's like, oh, because they said it had to be hardwired into the wall. I go, well, that's not happening. Yeah. I'm not hardwiring something into my wall. Like, are you gonna come and have them put something in my wall? Like, what? So I go, no, Wi-Fi. Like, nobody's gonna be printing off this but me. Oh, what? We have another printer at home. Like, my husband's not gonna use my printer. Oh, anyway. Anyhow, all these things.
So I
Sorry,
got
I'll
a,
say it.
I have a question, Christine, since you've been down this road a lot more than me. I had a person that was supposed to come Friday for an interview, emails me 1 minute before and says, hey, I can't make it. And I'm like, what the heck? And then it was like, I'm on the other end of town. So that was first red flag. And then I was like, okay, well, looks like he's good on paper with all this, but if he can't show up, that was like, that's not good on across the board anywhere. So have you ever encountered that and given a person another chance to redeem themselves? Well, yeah, okay.
So first impression with you
That's
in an interview. So, once they get past that, then they're gonna go, okay, so I can do that. When Monday morning, you expect them to come in, sorry, I can't make it today.
right.
No, I would.
Yeah.
They didn't even give you a good, like, they got in a car accident, okay, like, if he didn't tell you anything, or she didn't, then.
Yeah.
I would just-
1 minute before.
An
No.
email, yeah, and I was like, and I called him back 5 minutes. I was like, no, it was needed to be in person, not over the phone or not over here. And I was I wanted to say I wouldn't have done this to you, but you shouldn't be doing that to me on your first impression for anybody. And this came from Ideal Traits too. I mean, he's got all this technical. Yeah, okay. Okay. So,
This person did this, please take them off my list.
yeah,
I would not be promoting them at all.
right.
Here's what I want, what I've seen in the past, and
Rose up.
keep the bar high. Okay, keep the bar high. Your standard in your office needs to be up here because that's what you deserve. All
Right.
right, you deserve it. So in your mind, don't ever lower the bar to meet someone's ability. Okay, I can count on one hand how many times that has worked out. All right, I will say this just from an experience like a couple months back, right? So I had a candidate that was sent to me from Cicely, who is my recruiter, and she said, hey, this guy, I've talked to him, great in sales for my book up in Redmond that I have, which is dwindling month to month because I can't find anyone up in Redmond. So anyway, so she's like, here, we have meet with him. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, I have some time on. And it was like a Friday at, I don't know, whatever time. And so let's get on virtually. And he just completely no-showed me. Completely no-showed. And so I messaged back to him. I said, hey, would have loved the opportunity to meet you, but thanks, but no thanks. He immediately messaged me back and said, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I got my calendar mixed up. I didn't look at my phone. Anyway, so he said, please, would you consider another meeting? So I did. And we had a great talk, but then from that point on, completely ghosted. Completely. And so I said, no more. Like my team, like the team that we're creating here in the Cascades district, the bar is set really high. All right. And I will only tolerate very highly skilled people to be on the team because that's what the rest of you deserve, to be on a team where we're not constantly pulling people, right? Is that we have people that are ahead of us that we can look out to and say, oh my gosh, what are they doing? I want to, if they can do it, I can do it. Man, you always want to those people that you're looking at their behinds, right? And you're gonna say, I'm gonna pass you, you know, I'm there. You don't wanna be looking behind you. Now, I mean, we do have people like that on our team that were already here when I got here, right? I have no control over that, but I do have control over the ones that I bring on to our stellar, fantastic team. And I want you guys to think that about your own agencies, right? You deserve the best. I wouldn't want the best on your team. Long-winded answer. But no, Jimmy.
Yep. Okay. Yeah,
Anyone else have any help for Jimmy on that? I know Nancy had great comments too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would, that's unless they, and if you didn't have it, something to offer with the 1 minute, you know, cancellation, like, unless it's something like seriously major, you know, like give one exception, but usually that's not the case, you know, they're gonna. Like when you kind of froze when you were telling your story, Christine, so I
I'm
mentioned
sorry.
you said you did reschedule and then he showed it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I talked to him, we had a great meeting, but then after that,
That's
it was
great.
like, all right, have you, because of course, at that point, I send them right to licensing. I'm like, get your
Right.
license, then we'll talk, you know, that type of thing, so, yeah, but, we have some great candidates for, in our Bend opportunity. So with Lori Bushlets leaving, I have two, I've been told I need to hire 2 people to her book of business. I literally have 5 candidates. Stellar candidates, like internal with country. Even one that left country and wants to come back. That was a stellar agent. So I'm like, and then I'm getting referrals from, people on our team too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. What a great position. Then I have Redmond, who I can't hire anybody because for some reason no one wants to work on Redmond. So, anyway, I know.
Every one of them wants to relocate to Redmond. I thought that.
Well, even to me, it's like, okay, even if you want, you can have your office in Bend, but I need you to work that Redmond book. Like I'm even at that point where, no, I really do need to put another presence in Redmond. Tony just can't be the only one up there. It's too large of an area not to have it somebody else. So
Yeah.
I really do need to have, or somebody on the north end, where Chris and Fabian are, just a little bit north of that. So I don't know. So, but
You're gonna have to go to Redmond to recruit and.
No, I know.
Out there. Spend the night, go to some places.
here's the thing. I don't have time. Like I'm relying on, and this is the best position for, honestly, for a leader like myself to be in. It used to be back in the day where agency managers were like very in networking groups and they were out in the community and doing all that stuff. Now it's the position has changed where we are advising, we're leading our team, and that's why we have the recruiters. And then I have you all that know fantastic people. So that's really, it's kind of morphed into, cause I don't have time, like really, but my calendar is absolutely jammed. So,
Can ideal traits help you with that type of position?
well, we've said that, right? But there's a conflict of interest there. We actually pay people, we pay our recruiters to do just what they're doing. So,
Gotcha.
yeah,
I see.
but, yeah.
Like Cicely, she's a recruiter,
Yeah,
right?
she's my
Yeah,
recruiter. Yeah, and then we have a sourcer as well. I think his name is Jacob. So he's the one on the back end going through LinkedIn and, sourcing all these different, making tons of phone calls to people and reaching out by email and doing all that. So on the back end, those are the things that agency managers used to have to do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did they find the time to? But all right, where's my Maxwell reader? Let's pull this out. Let's get some. And also the Monday motivation that I sent you guys is so good. So when you have some time to listen to that, it's like one of my all-time favorites, honestly. So I know I sent out a lot of stuff that I say, this is so good. It is, it's, you will listen or read it or whatever it is when you need to, when it'll hit right when it needs to. right? So, all right, I gotta put my purse on. All right. So everything here, from here, everything looks different. This is from winning with people. When it comes to winning with people, everything begins with the ability to think about people other than ourselves. People who remain. So to help them break up that pattern of living, they need the big picture. If you'd like to improve your ability to see the big picture and put others first, then do the following. Get out of your own little world. To change focus, people need to get out of their own little world. If you have a narrow view of people, go places you've never gone, meet the kinds of people you do not know, and do things you've not done before. It will change your perspective as it has done mine. Check your ego at the door. An egotist can be described not as a person who thinks too much of himself, but as someone who thinks too little of other people. That's a good description. We often mistakenly believe that the opposite of love is hate, but I believe that's incorrect. The opposite of loving others is being self-centered. If your focus is always on yourself, you'll never be able to build positive relationships. Understand that what brings fulfillment. Ultimately, the things that bring fulfillment involve others. A person who's entirely self-focused will always feel restless and hungry. If you want to live a fulfilling life, you need healthy relationships. And to winning with people. Remind yourself that the entire population of the world, with one minor exception, is composed of other people. That's a good one today. I mean, just it is to me, it's just so neat to, you know, when I came to this team, just to meet a whole new team, you know, other people, and get to know. I mean, every time I send an email to our Southern Oregon agent, you know, the whole district, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 83 people receiving this. I have 83 people on my team, which, you know, I love to meet new people and also serve you. I love to serve you. And I think it does. I could not agree more with the words, because when I feel like I have things, my eyes centered on myself, or what's not happening with me, or what's, you know, how things are affecting me, decisions that are being made, I then take my eyes off you guys, and you guys are what keep me here, you know. So, and it feels so much better, like to go and, you know, meet with Nancy and meet her associate agent, and be able to, you know, go to dinner and be able to serve you. And what is it that you need? You know, how can I help? How can I move the needle? And just, even if it's just a little bit, you know, it feels so much better than I don't know, focusing on the things happening in my district leader role. Can't change those as much. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you have any examples? I mean, you've got to have an example.
Well, to me, it was always meeting people where they're at, and you know, coming from the fitness and martial arts gym, it was a challenge to serve everybody. And this kid moves different from this person. This person has disabilities. This one doesn't. This is an elite fighter, and be able to adjust on the fly. That's where it's like serving the people at their level. I can push him harder. I can't push them harder, but having that servant mindset is like, I've always been there, and trying to instill that into this insurance world, even though I'm just like freaking going crazy with trying to get people to get the right information. Just like when Jeremy said, hey, I need your vitals. I was like, dude, I've been using that all day long, Jeremy. So thank you for that. And it's being humble. Like I know how much I need to know in this world and in this industry. Like I am a student first and foremost, and I am like, even your dad said this the other day too, Jeremy. He was like, yeah, man, I'm the dumbest one in the room. I was like, what? No, you're not. Like, he was like saying this out of humbleness, but it was like, dude, that was really cool to hear him say that and not just pretend it. You know what I mean? But that was really cool. So he's been marked. You've been marked. Nancy, you've been marked. Everybody's been marked. I got my target on all of you guys. I see a big old X. I'm following that trail.
That's the world you used to be in, right? I borrowed Mark.
Oh man, well, everybody would be like, "Oh, I'm coming to your gym." I mean, it was so funny when we would go out to the fights, like, "Oh, pardon my French, kick his ass. I'm gonna get this." I was like, "Oh, you're not nothing." I was like, "Here goes a free pass." I'll love to whoop that, and I just left it at that. But I was like, "Come in here, please. You're a tough guy when you've got all this liquid courage behind." But it's a whole different ball game. I was all been there, but I can't do that now. But that's the thing that I'm like getting in my own way, like how you guys get over when you're like, how how hard is it for people to like just give you the information? And I tell them I can't quote you without this. I might as well be playing darts and hope I hit the bullseye. I was all, I don't want to take out the guesswork, and I'm not trying to waste your time and I'm being more direct with them now. And it's like, okay, now I just gotta start going. I've been going for no's, but I guess I gotta get for more no's, or getting people's information. Is how did you guys overcome those challenges?
Jeremy,
Oh, no,
Sorry,
no.
like.
you look like you're gonna speak.
Here all morning, and
Uh,
Intel Connectivity Performance Suite pop-up that just covers my whole screen, sorry.
oh,
Sorry. I miss you all morning. It's like you said earlier, Nancy, the technology, it's just,
oh.
yeah.
Amazing.
I'm gonna be so honest, I entirely lost my train of thought with that, where I'm looking at,
Is it-
Okay, you want me to go?
that's great, yeah.
We fix that. You're looking at it. Jimmy, are you referring to quoting it specifically, like feeling like getting the necessary information, or people telling you no as far as prospects is trying to get?
Oh, I have no problem people telling me no, I'm just going to the next. That one's easy. At least I get an answer. That's the frustrating part. It's the lingering on, like I have this doctor and I'm like, son of a gun, like you have all these things and here, send me this, get back, getting all the information because I have Monica who's helping quoting it's a big farm and he has like 3 homes, 10 boats, 10 cars, and I was like, holy moly, like this is just like over my head. And I was like, this is the information I need. Do I need to show up at your office and get it like pen and paper? Please send this. I can't move forward. And that's the part that's frustrating.
A couple of there. One, because I'm working on hiring a new assistant, I'm like, one of my side projects is like putting together templates for what's needed for quotes, because she's never been in the insurance world before. So if you'd like, if I get those put together,
Oh.
I'm happy to share those with you.
Please.
And two, especially with those big ones, the farm ones, the huge multi-pump, like the thing, especially, and for me, because my previous employment was in a car dealership where everything's like, it's like you literally sprint onto the lot to go grab it up and greet somebody, right? But it moves slow, especially these big ones, especially
Okay.
farms, like people that are farmers. It's like you gotta be pleasantly persistent. That's something from my dad, but I love that phrase. You gotta be pleasantly persistent, but you also have to be patient. And it just takes some time. You send an email. If you don't hear back that day, you make sure you follow up with a phone call. Since you can't text prospects, that's really all you can do unless, you feel like going against the grain and using your personal phone, but I think you'll get your wrist slapped for that if you do that. So don't do that. But, just keep up the communication. If you don't hear from them that day, just say, hey, still waiting on this to move forward. But patience is key with those big ones, especially farm clients, especially people who have a lot of properties. Because the thing to understand too is you're kind of, in a lot of ways, you're the, you're just the guy doing a thing for them. While it's big and important for you, they have so much going on that you got to be like, okay, I'm just a fly in their ear. And when you can sneak in and you can find that 5 minutes to talk to them, that's when you jump on it. But if you get caught up spinning your wheels waiting for them to respond, then that's just it leads to frustration that's not productive.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I was all, and I know him, I mean, I've been with him for a lot of years, my dentist, and I also sent a lot of people here. He fixed a lot of my teeth too, but I'm like, you know what I can do to your teeth, right? But it didn't go fly out. And I mean, I can joke and I can break the ice with anybody and everybody, but it's just the frustration of I have these things on here and I'm just waiting for people to get me the right information so I can do my job. And I'm like, I want to take them by the neck and like, just send me this. I mean, yeah, but yeah.
They'll all respond at one time too, Jimmy, with that, waiting, has some down days and boy, sure enough. Tuesday rolls around, all three of the people you're waiting for decide that's the day, they're gonna call, they're gonna send emails, now you're gonna feel overwhelmed, because now you're like, oh my gosh, I have all this info and I can't do all this in one day. Like, that's just kind of the nature of this business, and each person you have to handle, different, but I mean, it comes in waves, I would say, it almost always does. It just seems like if there's a slow day, utilize that to catch up, make those calls, or, loading up your calendar, what can you do? But then it's like, be ready, because the tsunami's coming, and you gotta be prepared when it comes, because it seems like then everything rolls in. But I agree with Jeremy, it's like persistence, you have to be pleasant about it. You can't be like emailing every single day and like being irritating, because to them you have to think you're providing a service, but also it's a lot of work. People have a lot of things, just like Jeremy said, happen to be busy people, but also it's like a lot of work to have. Say they're not that organized, they just don't have that information right, at hand to give to you, and they're like, oh, I have to dig out, I have to find that. It seems like, sometimes I'll stay on the phone with people as they're literally sifting to find it. And I'm like typing away doing something like, oh, you want me to hold your hand? I sat on the phone with the guy for 2 hours. And he literally didn't want to get off the phone with me. I'm like, okay, we're doing this together. We're going to just sit here. We're going to get it all done. And he didn't want to hang up. He like wanted to like quoted, issue, like paid, all the things. Like we just spent my little afternoon with him, and it was a cross sell. But that's just, he wanted the hand holding. So that's what I provided. Other people are like, I'll get back to you next week. No problem. But when they don't, make sure you have it in your calendar to follow up. Because if you forget then to follow up, you're probably not going to hear, and then that's going to prolong the process. But another thing made me think of, Jeremy, you might know this, but there's some worksheets for auto and home that you can. Have you not like those ones? Because already.
No.
Oh, I was like, trying to take the guesswork out of what it should be to, add, and how about that?
I think for me, the reason I don't like them is because when I use them, I hop around all over the place, and then I feel like some of for me, so many of my things are more niche to my locale. Stuff like wood stoves and outbuildings, stuff like where the trees are, and things that are more relevant to me sometimes than some of the things on the worksheets. And then when I'm sitting there staring at the whole thing, I'll spend 10 minutes of their time bugging them on questions that I don't really need, that I can pull off of Zillow or something like that. It's just,
Your experience, what about someone who's never done it? Maybe to them, and the way their mind thinks, they're just gonna go line by line,
like I know they're good for I don't know, I'm a bit of a control freak sometimes too, I guess. So I like that.
Well, and I think that's what those forms are made for, right? That just like your life insurance number, things like that. So when you have new people, we bring on agents that maybe have never been in insurance, but they've been in sales. So, they're trying to correlate those two things. We have some help, break some job aids, but I always say, hey, you guys, you can use this, but as you're using it, really only ask the relevant questions that you, just like Jeremy, great point, that you can't get anywhere else, right? Because then you're reducing the amount of questions that you have, in order that you're asking your prospect. But just what you said, Jeremy, like create your own, because the questions that you need to ask in Sisters, what are important for most homeowners in that area. And yes, we have the general ones, I would say. But I agree, I would always customize based on, all right, I'm not gonna ask that one, I would know right what to ask, and at some point, it's just a yellow pad, right? Here's what I need.
Yeah,
You good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or I use if you just type in your search bar at the bottom of your desktop, you type in Notepad. Love that application. application, passive application. I keep a lot of, it's basically just a digital yellow pad.
Yeah.
Is the way I use it. So what's nice about that is if you do have team members and you're using Microsoft Planner and stuff like that, then you can take your notes and you can copy and paste them without having to hand them the piece of paper or scan it. But still 90% of the time I'm on the yellow pad. I'm trying to get better about making
Even the
things more
sticky
digital.
notes, the sticky notes app too.
Sticky notes are good too. Yeah, it's kind of, I see them as like one or the other. I know some
Yeah.
people prefer sticky notes. Like I've shown people Notepad and then shown them sticky notes and then they go sticky notes. Personally, I prefer Notepad, but that's because I'm kind of an old school computer nerd kind of guy. So it feels more like I'm in the mainframe, so to speak. But
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever works. I think
Yeah.
it's whatever will work for you, and for your team. Being able to translate, you know, those things, and it's just creating those systems and processes and then tweaking when you need to, right? You know, I think that for me, and I've probably said this before, right? But I can't emphasize this enough, where this business is emotional, right? Sales, it's emotional, where you're like frustration, anger, happiness, you know, exhilaration when you land a big one, all those things, like you're, the whole gamut of emotions is in this business. And, in order to take emotion as much as you can out of it, strong processes and systems is where it's at. And I get that you guys are trying to get, like, all three of you trying to go out and get as much business as possible in order to then create, you know, it takes time. You cannot afford at this point in your business to have all the processes, systems in place, and then go out and bring in business. You have to do both at the same time, right? So this is your first, and you don't get this done in a year. The first 2 years of this business is the hardest you will ever work, right? Because you are trying to do both of these at the same time and hire assistants and train them and do all that. Once you have all that in place, then this business is not as hard, right? I'm never going to say it's easy. It's never. Because you should always be thinking of, how do I scale? How do I get bigger? How do I bring in more revenue based on your vision for your business? But those, if you can create those processes, Jimmy, just in your example, you know, gosh, I'm chasing this guy because I need this, I can't do it, I can't move forward unless he gives me this information. So then it's that, just what Jeremy said, that follow-up date, like putting it on your calendar, whatever the notepad, like whatever your process is to follow up. And you've heard me say before, be in charge of that last point of contact, where whether you're leaving a voicemail or you're sending them an email, hey, here's the information I need. If I don't hear back from you by, and give it, I don't know how many, what's your process, like 3 days, 4 days, I don't know, whatever works for you, then I'll be reaching back out. And then you pin it. You just put a pin in it, right? And then you move on to the next thing. So the emotion of that has been pinned, because you know you're going to follow up on something you have zero control over to this point, right? So you can be as frustrated as you want because the guy isn't calling you back, but put a pin in it and move to the next opportunity. Like having more and more opportunity until all the opportunities that you have right now are pinned on follow-up, because you can't do anything more, right? That it's out of you're waiting for them to respond. And then at that point, you're like, all right, what do I do next? I'm going to go out and prospect for the next hour. I'm going to go find some business, or I'm going to go through my phone, my contact list, like, and then it's playing offense. All right, let's get some more people to pin in my follow-up, my process. The emotion, because that is the way that I have found, and maybe this is just the way my brain works, right? That takes the most emotion away from me, so I'm not so frustrated because I know I have them pinned for follow-up. And at the end of the day, I don't have control over them giving me their information. So let me find somebody that I can go serve, that I can help put in a better position, and help by them talking to me, letting me, let me just evaluate your coverage. You know, I'm here to serve. So I'm looking for people to serve. So I don't know, that's just the way that I protected myself and my mind from the frustration of people doing things not the way I would do them. Because if someone asks me for this information, I just wanna mark it off the list, let me get it to them as fast as possible, so they can do their job and I can wait for them to give me the answer. But everyone thinks the way I do. Or they're living in a different world, like, they have different things that they're going on in their life. That make them react to what they need to react to. And maybe an insurance quote is not at the top of the list of priority. Or we think it should be, because they need our help, but. These are all the things over the years that you just learn to protect yourself from. And having 100 irons in the fire is better than having 3. Because that will take the emotion out of it.
Yeah, I think I've been waiting on these because I'm like, okay, I need this and trying too hard and then just putting all my effort and then getting sidetracked on them as opposed to like, all right, let me just go out and, like you said, pen it. That was a good analogy that I needed to hear. Because yeah, I mean, I have tons of resources, but I've just been stuck behind this lovely office that I have now. But
Well, and so here's the thing that you can find yourself getting caught up into, Jimmy, based on that way that you think, right? Is I just want to make this go away. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I want to box it up, put a bow on it, then become my client. Let's finish all this. Then I can put you in, you're in my system then, and now you're gonna get a renewal in 12 months and I'm gonna meet with you, we're gonna review. So then they're in the completed.
uh, froze up
Everything
again.
you can, they're all loose ends. They're all loose ends.
You froze up on that last section.
You have to learn to like loose ends and not have everything packaged up and completed because you want it to be completed and you're not gonna move on until those are completed. Hit it.
And something to be said along that line too, that, I can't remember if they like specifically drove this concept home during the country trainings and stuff, but that I picked up other sales things, the concept of a sales pipeline. Where you want your pipeline to be full. You always want to have things you're working on because you don't want to have everything closed up because then that means all of a sudden now there's no lead, now there's nothing you're working on. So it's okay if things are pending because that means there's always something working, always something going. You like the sales funnel, the sales pipeline, like the old CRM I used to use, like literally had a picture of a funnel and show you how many people are in uncontacted leads, contacted leads, like pending appointments, sold leads for the month, right? And it would like roll through that, which is kind of how a lot of our like country tracker systems work, but it was just the visual metaphor of like the sales funnel. And it gets smaller as you go down, right? So you're gonna have all these leads that you slowly build down to these are the couple that you've sold. But being okay with having a bunch of this that up here going into the funnel, because that's I don't know, it's a good metaphor, it's a good visual metaphor, and thinking about it that way, I feel like helps me kind of when I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things I have sold policy this week, and it'll come together.
Yes.
You have a crystal ball in your hands, Jeremy? You,
Planners like that, like, I think we also have so many loose ends with service work, Jimmy, so.
yeah,
You probably get even more frustrated, cause there feels like there's those pieces in the pie too, like you're trying to. Get something wrapped up, something checked off or whatever works, cause our brains all work different, like what gives us being satisfied, like they did it, check.
right.
I don't know if you use Planner, but I'm trying. And it's like, okay, move it through the process, because I'm waiting, or I gotta write back and I'm waiting on the client to provide me the good student, for the good student discount, I need the report card. But like, I followed up again, now I'm hitting the deadline, now I have to reach out to underwriting and ask for extension, they didn't get it, it's like. Like you're waste much time on a little task, and then in addition to those, you're like, oh, I need to get new business. This guy's not following up. I have 3 leads, but if you're thinking of it like the pipeline, because the worst problem we can have is have nothing to be even following up on it to be getting, knowing that you're not getting a quote. So you do want to always think that that's a good problem to have. The service more tedious, but the other part, the follow up, maybe kind of gauge that person. If you have followed up 3 times, it's not working for them to email it, maybe you change. I was trying to be flexible, like maybe their personality type would rather have a call. Let's set up an appointment. You don't have to get me the decks. Let's just talk. I'll write it all down. No problem. If that works better and they can fit in a 30-minute call, get it that way. Like half the time the events will pull in. I mean, sometimes the socials are pulling in, like half of this stuff, look through it, like, oh, I got most of that, so I don't have to burden this super, high profile doctor, is super busy and probably has a little bit of an ego, like get him everything that's needed to just ask him those few questions that are pertinent for you to finish the job, to get him what he needs. And then, kind of pivoted towards, okay, maybe for him, that he realizes like, oh, thank you for, not making me do all that homework. I don't want to do it. And then he just gets you what you need and you get him the quotes and boom, you sell it.
Sounds
Try
easy.
different things.
That was perfect. Yeah.
Lots of good. So, talk about the pipeline. All right. So I know it's not this week, but next week, there should be an invite on your calendar for Vlad Churchenko. It came from Joe Kemp. It's, so if at all possible, make sure you prioritize that meeting so you can find out what that's about. Insurance Sales Lab. You can Google it, right? Insurance Sales Lab. Look into it. Vlad is actually on he's like one of the instructors for this process. And again, this is a charcuterie board of options that country is, exploring, I would say. So this is just a Western region thing. This isn't even the company, right? So this is just Chris Pacey, who took my place in Northern Colorado. He came from farmers. And so when he was running his farmers agency, used this process and trained his assistants and everything with this. I get to see it this week to see what exactly it is. But if you go on Insurance Sales Lab, they hit everything from property casualty to commercial to life. And so I don't know what this promotion of this process or this system is going to be focused on. It could be all three. It could just be the property casualty and commercial. It could be life. Like, I don't know. But anyway, like I said, you guys all own your own agencies. So the process that you take or you invest in to learn a skill, there's no harm in it at all. So be on there just to explore on what this opportunity might involve, what it looks like. Either I get to find out this week, but I've been meeting with my agents, just reminding them, hey, be on the call if you can, just to explore if it's something that would fit into your agency and, create some momentum. Again, you have B-Files, you have ITL Trades, you have Barry Rutten, they're not a great fit for every single agent in the Western region, right? So this it's not us saying, here's what you have to do. It's more of here's an option. If this connects with you, if you feel like this is good, fits the vision and mission of your business, and you want to invest revenue into it, because I'm sure there's some, it's not free. I don't even know what that looks like, but
kind of along that line, actually, a question on B-File, but I don't know if you've heard anything about it. I've spoken to a couple of people at B-File, and they let me know it's basically something where they just push a button on their end. They just need to go ahead from country. It's not something it's something that they do for other companies that they work with. They've got the whole suite of B-File offering, which is the software plus the call center. And I don't really currently at this stage of my business, probably likely like a year or two down the line, will have use for the call center. But right now where I'm at, it'd be like almost 10% of my gross income currently with what I've projected. So I'm like, it's just where I'm at, it's not worth it. But the software is really nice, and I really like the software. And I know that most of the cost, and when I was talking about most of the cost of that package comes from the call center and just the labor involved and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know if you'd ever heard anything from country about if there was plans to just offer just the software as a separate package.
I have not heard that, Jeremy, at all, but that's a great option, you know? Would they allow you to do it yourself? You just went straight to B-File and
No,
purchase the software? Okay.
and I was, it was, the first time I brought it up was at that, the big district meeting we had
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that presentation. And
Yeah.
I think he was one of the owners or the developers or
Yes.
something. I spoke to him directly about it. and he
Okay.
Let me know that he's like, I wish I could, I would if I could, like, I'd love to just sell you that, but it's, you got
It's
to
the
go package.
package.
Yeah.
And I've not heard anything about them, breaking that up into like, here's plan A, here's plan B, you know, just the software piece. So I've not heard that, but it's worth a, hey, but it would be nice. So Courtney Luttrell, he is. And all the vendor partnerships and all of that. He's gonna be on, virtually at our meeting on the 24th. He has some things that he asked to get in front of you all, so that would be a great question, Jeremy, for him. Because he's the one that handles the vendor partnerships, and he's the conduit between us and MP Files. So.
Yeah, cause
that'd be a great question for him.
it's a good like extension to the Navigator CRM software and the way it does I like how succinct the presentation was for all of basically like a more in-depth version of your life insurance number and the way it pulls all that
Yes.
data
Yeah.
into it. And I liked how that was set up and I can see myself using that a lot, especially like cars. But
Well, there have been other people on our team that have asked me, like, can you do screenshots? What are those questions? Just to kind of steal the, you know, intellectual property from them. And I'm like, I don't have access to that, nor would I feel comfortable giving that to you, you know? I'm like, no, pay for it. Pay for it. What else? I was gonna talk about that. I know Nancy, I had talked to Nancy last week and I'll just mention it now because, you know, who doesn't want some good news on a Monday morning, right? Of, future, where country's going in the future, especially with the state of Oregon. And I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we have been targeted as a growth state for the company in 2026, which is a great thing, right? Did I already tell you guys this last time?
I think you might have brought it up. It's either that or it was one of the big all district.
On the bigger call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put the carrot out there.
And
So-
what I found most recently is that Southern Oregon, or should I say Cascades District, which it will be officially renamed on January 1st. We have been targeted as ground zero for the whole state, which is even more amazing, right? Where it's all of the effort and it's gonna be centered on our district. So got
Do you know if
things to do.
You know if that means Bloomington will like pay to fly some underwriters out here so they can actually visit, see what it looks like, so we don't get all these stupid wildfire impacts that are a little. Yeah.
Jeremy,
I
I
can
think-
tell it's like a probably newer underwriter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yes.
And with the risk characteristics.
And those are the things that you just, that would be a great, anytime that we have, like Eric Chabra, right? He's personal lines underwriting, like he's the manager, right? You have manager, you have supervisor, you have the underwriter. So he's the one that came out to our meeting, and so we have exposure to him, right? He said, hey, you need anything, you call me, you email me. So right then I'm like, oh, you just opened up an avenue, right, to go right to the top. So Jeremy, here's what I would do, like shoot him an email and say, hey, can I just, and this is not like in the words that you would use to be very professional in this approach, is I'm sure you've considered this, but here's been my experience in the past couple months where I get an underwriter who is not familiar with wildfire. And, you know, I'm assuming has never lived out where we live because they're asking questions that, you know, and whatever the scenario is, right, Jeremy? So it's if they don't know that we're struggling out here with a certain aspect of what the service they're providing us in a professional way, bring it to his attention.
Yeah, and one thing too, that is just like a point of frustration for me that I know is not going to change, but is just a point of frustration, is that an underwriter doesn't get assigned to a quote throughout the whole quote
No, I
process.
know.
The fact that it goes in, gets rejected, and then now it's just, and then so sometimes I haven't had it as much recently, like I've actually, knock on wood, but I've had very good luck getting things it's been a smooth process recently. But I'm thinking of a specific example from my dad's office where I saw it like they're like, check out this right back we just got. This is ridiculous. Keep an eye out for ones like this. Because it was like, oh, this is somebody who's probably their first week as an underwriter, like, that kind of thing. But when you don't get to have that same dialogue with one person and then they're just going back to somebody else's notes, and it's kind of it's frustrating. I get why they do it. I get the sense of efficiency and stuff like that, but especially for me out in my area where it's so much about the people first connection.
Yeah.
Like it's about these relations, and when I'm just like, yeah, sorry, it's my luck. Like I'll be very like candid with people when I'm talking about there. I'm like, I kind of get luck of the draw with the underwriter here. It like, I'm gonna let you know these are my mitigation steps. This is what's required. But I'm kind of at their mercy with what they write back. They're going to send me an email with pictures and little red circles around everything that needs adjusted, and then we can go over those if that comes up. But the level of detail that those red circles are going to cover highly depends on which underwriter gets
Well,
assigned case. And
The red,
yeah,
so Jeremy, the red circle around leaves on the ground.
yeah,
Seriously.
or yeah,
Leaves on the ground.
yeah, or like if like wind came through and some pine needles got knocked loose, and it's like just one big windstorm where the pine. It's not like detritus. It's not like it's just the environment here. There's some needles on the ground that people deal with, but
It's
when the
October,
snow's coming,
right?
when the snow's coming, you don't break the needles. You wait till March, right? You wait till April. You don't do that right now because there's no point, because everything's going to be covered in 6 inches of water. So, so yeah, it's stuff like that. I know is more of just a kind of how we're in the far reaches of the company as far as just the physical location of
Right,
everything.
and those are, but they obviously, because we're a targeted growth state, they know the importance of what we do out here in the state, the revenue that our state, the Oregon, provides for the company. So there's a little bit more, when we talk about growth, it could happen in several areas, which is a little bit looser guidelines on underwriting, better rates, marketing, advertising, I mean, all those things. When a company is trying to buy business, that's what we get the benefit of. So my point in bringing that up is also, be ready. Be ready for what that looks like, to be in a competitive position.
Yeah.
Where let's just say, more competitive than we are now. That's the only thing I can guarantee. Like if they are moving the needle on rate, which I know they are, because I've had conversations with my leadership.
Do you know if once like the plan is finalized at agency level, we'll see like a bullet point list of what it means to be that, or is it always going to be kind of nebulous for us?
I believe it will be nebulous on purpose, right?
Okay.
Because they don't want to have anyone, well, you sent this communication out, you said this would be, and this isn't what it is, So it's going to be more of me saying, hey, here's what I know. All right. I don't have specifics, but here's what you can see. On the advertising and marketing side, like all I know is when they have targeted other states, like Oklahoma has been targeted the past 2 years, which I'm puzzled, right? That's a hugely weather claim position to be in, right, in Oklahoma. But they have done, Mark Morley has sent me pictures of the sides of buses, like covered in Country Financial, things like that, where it's, hey, if Southern Oregon, Medford, Grants Pass, Bend, if all of those are ground zero for our advertising, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
So
especially because so many people out here, I'll say I'm from Country Financial, and the entire time we talk, they call me Countrywide because of how much recognition we have out here.
even believe, like what recognition did Countrywide have? That is 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my, like they did a fantastic job. advertising and marketing if people still have Countrywide in their brain. Like,
Country should go back and look at their marketing.
I know.
Like whatever they did worked.
Yes, well, I think a lot of it had to do with the failure, right, of their whole company. That's why people remember it, is they were insured, or they had their loan through Countrywide and they went to foreclosure. So that's why it's great too, but, all right, well, great meeting today. I hope you guys always find these valuable, if it's not just, you know, a little bit of inspiration for the day. And that's why I love when it's just us. Devin said he had a last minute, had a new business prospect that wanted to meet with him, and so I'm like, hey, I get it, can't say no to that, so, but I hope you guys have a great week. Jimmy, I'll see you tomorrow,
Yes.
and Jeremy, I think I have you on my calendar next week, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, I think next week.
all right, and I'm here if you need anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great week, talk to you
Thank
later,
you. You too.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Jeremy, are you still here? Hey, do you mind if I wanted to ask, do you have a second to share, like, show me